My name is Alex Williams, founder of the New Stack, and you are listening to the New Stack Analysts podcast. Each week, we look at application development and management at scale. Thanks for joining us. Now on to the show.
Because
Pack cams.
Totally.
Yeah, we've been trying. So we have this house in Southeast that we rent, and there's a lot of cats in the area.
Because it's Portland.
Because it's Portland, there's cats everywhere. It's a cat paradise.
Totally.
Especially in the neighborhoods. And
We have three.
We've written 3 versions of a webcam system to know when there's cats in the yard, so that we can go out and try to pet them. And various different approaches, like an old webcam repurposed, and there's one that uses Node on a Raspberry Pi. There's actually a Node project that does cat face recognition using a neural network that is Kitty Dar. That's the next version that we want to do.
Totally. This is all people in Portland doing this?
Well, just me and Jessica.
Oh, it's you and Jessica.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the other goal is live stream the cats to YouTube, because then we could have a bot that tweets out, hey, there's a cat being live streamed from Max and Jessica's yard. Here's a live HD video of it.
Totally. So that's the perfect intro for our podcast here. Keep Node weird in Portland. Is that what we said, or is it something different?
No, that works. That works.
Keep Node weird in Portland, and that's a perfect example of keeping Node weird in Portland. So Max Ogden, and I always forget people's names as soon as I go on. Carter, tell us a little about yourself.
Oh, and Jessica Lord.
Yeah. So I've been using Node for many years, since the 0.1 days.
This is Carter Thaxton of VoiceBox. Totally.
And I'm using it for a very unique application. I work for a company called VoiceBox. We do private room karaoke lounges, and kind of like the way they do karaoke in Asia, where you get a private room, hang out with your friends. And it's a really cool concept. When we started looking into opening our places, we realized there's not really a good technology out there to be able to buy, let alone good sources of music and all that stuff. It's kind of a weird landscape. Anyway, we decided, because we were both from the tech industry, my business partner and I were let's just build our own thing. And it was right as Node was starting to sort of come out, and I just wanted to do a fun pet project, so I started coding parts of that in Node. And it's not only has our business thrived, but Node has thrived.
Oh yeah.
This is 8 years later now, and
that's commitment to have an 8-year karaoke.js project, basically.
Totally.
That's really commitment on your part as well. I commend you on that.
Right? And so, we use Node for all kinds of stuff. We use it for basically all the real-time stuff. So every time someone pushes a button on a remote control, or wants to adjust the lights, or the next song needs to get queued up, or people want to use their smartphone and figure out what songs are up next, or whatever, all that stuff is going through Node.
I remember we had the Node.js conference here in Portland in 2012 or 2013, I forget. And the party was at VoiceBox.
Totally.
People went to VoiceBox because I was like, hey, we're all Node people, let's go to the Node.js karaoke. And Substack, who's a legend in the community, who always has his laptop out no matter what this environment he's in. He's on a boat, he has his laptop. He's on a plane, he has his laptop. He's riding a horse, he has his laptop. And he was in the karaoke room. People were singing Bohemian Rhapsody, and he was hacking on the karaoke system, writing a Node.js module to control it from inside the karaoke room, in the dark with the disco light going, and he was sitting there interfacing with the system to cue the music, and it was really cool. It was hackable karaoke. So maybe hackable. I don't know how much you condone the hacking.
No, I thought it was great, and I think the best module he wrote was the Rick Roller. It would delete your queue and put.
That's funny.
So we have cats karaoke. What? And your first name again is
Jessica.
And Jessica, you work on this cat project too.
Well, those are side projects. Yeah, we have all my side projects are Node, and I work at GitHub, and I work now on GitHub's one made Node project, which is Atom and Electron. Atom, the text editor, and Electron, the framework for building desktop apps in web technology. It combines Chromium and Node in a single runtime, and it's really cool. But moved onto that team at GitHub from another team because I'd just been spending so much time on Node side projects on my own. I just wanted to be doing Node at work too. But I have done lots of command line apps, and one of the things I'm most actively maintaining, give my time to maintain, is like it was a Node terminal app, and now it's actually a Node Electron app, but it's called Git It, and it's for teaching beginners Git and GitHub.
Nice.
And
Cool.
about 6,000 people have done it now. I have a little Node robot named Repo Robot who has a GitHub account. He's super active.
He's out there all the time.
Yeah, and so he collaborates with people who are doing Git It, and he writes to their repos. They have to pull in his changes. He then reviews their pull requests. He gives them comments if their pull request is
This
not
is
right.
one smart Node bot.
Yeah. And he's still up. It's set to give me a Twitter DM if he ever goes down. And
He hasn't given it to you.
yeah.
Oh, good.
I think Electron is a weird use of Node. Maybe we'll look back a couple years and it will be like everyone is using it. It won't be weird, but for traditional desktop application people to be like, hey, throw away all of your knowledge about Microsoft GUI code and just write it all in JavaScript and Node. It's kind of a cool concept. So but it seems to be taking off a lot.
A lot of Electron apps have been developed in Portland and developed in our living room
In your living room.
with a group of 7 Node developers.
Who are monitoring the cats at the same time.
Yeah. And then writing chat apps. I feel like the point of Friends was mostly to experiment with using Bluetooth and P2P and Electron and writing all of this stuff. Because what Electron lets you do is use all the cool stuff that's out in Chromium and then just write it in Node. And so...
Oh, okay. So very simple then.
It blurs those two. Basically, you're kind of able to do everything you can do with a browser, and you're kind of able to do everything that you can do with your computer through Node.
Yeah.
Because Node gives you basically access to the file system.
Okay.
Exactly.
So it's kind of like full control over your computer, both the GUI part as well as the...
So it's synced too, then, to some degree, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it has some synchronization. There's a sync there. Isn't there? You have the computer and the browser capability.
Yeah, but they're unlike a client-server kind of thing where you have a browser program and then it communicates using HTTP or whatever to a server. This doesn't have anything like that in the middle. You don't have a server and a client separate. They're basically just an app running, which is kind of like a fallback to the way old desktop programs have always been written.
That's true.
But now we've got the techniques of HTML and JavaScript to be able to, and CSS and all that, in order to be able to code up the GUI. And you merge that with what I/O and all that stuff that Node does, and it's like, wow, this is kind of recreated the entire stack that do with the Microsoft toolkit or whatever, any of those things.
Yeah, we had a hack day, Jessica mentioned, where we just invited some of our Node friends to come over to our living room and hack on a chat app because we all wanted to make an Electron chat app for fun. Kind of Slack was there, but Slack doesn't work if you don't have a Wi-Fi connection. And a lot of times we're on a train together and there's no Wi-Fi and still want to be able to chat on the train. And we thought it'd be cool to make a chat app that could use your Bluetooth.
Oh, nice.
And so we started working on this thing. It's called friends.app, and it's kind of still early hacker version. You have to compile it yourself right now, but it's been a lot of fun to try to make what would it look like to make an open source Slack clone, and Electron's a pretty good tool to use for it.
Isn't Slack actually written in Atom at least?
Well, in Electron, the Windows and Linux versions of Slack are written on Electron.
That's funny.
The Mac one wasn't, because initially when Electron came out, it wasn't supported for the Mac App Store, and they wanted the Slack app to be in the Mac App Store. But as of 2 months ago or something, Electron now supports a Mac App Store build.
So Max, what's your Keep Node Weird in Portland project?
I work on Node stuff for scientists, which is weird for scientists because traditionally they use a lot of bash scripts, they use a lot of Python, and then they use a lot of C++, and they don't use a lot of documentation, they don't use a lot of publishing their code online. They publish their paper in a journal and then they never get around to sharing their code or their data. So I run a team of 3 people. We get grants to try to basically affect change in science by injecting open source and node culture into the scientific community. So it's kind of a big experiment to see, double entendre, experiment to see if we can get open source culture to kind of merge into scientific culture a little bit more. Well, it's already kind of happening, but we want to kind of represent the node way, where it's like NPM, there's hundreds of thousands of packages and anybody can publish, and that's a totally different publishing model than the way that you publish a paper, for instance, where it's public funded research and then you publish it in a journal, but you have to pay to download it. Like, imagine how crazy it'd be if you have to pay to download a module from NPM. So we're at a high level, it's just a culture issue, and then at a low level, there's technology issues also we work on. But so it's kind of interesting. One thing, actually, if there's any viewers or listeners out there that work at OHSU, I'm really curious to see if there's any open science, open source going on there. Because I never hear about meetups or anything there, but I'm sure they're doing. They work on really cool stuff, so there must be a cool community. But maybe they're not doing public events yet or not. But it'd be really cool to meet up with people from OHSU.
Totally. So I thought of this beforehand. Portnodea. The Portlandia thing is so overdone now, especially if you're from Portland, right?
Sure.
But couldn't you see an episode with the cats and the node and couldn't you see that?
Put a module on.
We also had a plant waterer.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Because we went to Denmark for 3 weeks and we didn't want our plants to die. So
So what'd you do?
It's a cron job.
There's a node project, or at least they have a node component. It's called the Particle or Spark.io, Particle.io. I think they rebranded to Particle.io, but they make these little tiny microcontrollers that are kind of tiny Arduinos, but they're internet connected. So they get on your Wi-Fi and then you can control them when you're on the internet. So we thought it'd be cool if we were out of the house, we can turn on and off a plant watering system from the internet remotely. And the only issue is we never got the webcam hooked up, so we just had to guess how much to water the plants. And so to be really safe about it, we put it in the tub. So we moved all the plants in the house into the tub. We had like a 5-gallon bucket full of water with a water pump hooked up
like
to
an
this
aquarium pump.
Yeah, like a really tiny aquarium fish circulator or water pump. And every once in a while from Denmark, we'd run a command line command that would turn the watering on. And then we'd wait a couple of minutes and then turn it off and hope it turned off. Because worst case scenario, the house burns down. Second worst case scenario, it floods the house. But the probability of those two are pretty low, I think, because it was in the tub and there wasn't enough voltage for anything really bad to happen. And so we got back and the 5-gallon bucket was empty, so the water got out somehow, and only half the plants had died.
I think the biggest problem was we did it all of it last minute, but we did not give enough time into thinking through the tubing system of how the tube was going to reach every single plant. So some plants I think got a lot of water and some plants got not enough water.
But Node is really capable of really doing that kind of thing. Someone was saying to me they don't think it's the Internet of Things, they think it's the things of the Internet.
Oh yeah.
Because it's the things that you can suddenly are internet enabled, right? Like a bathtub with a microcontroller to water the plants.
Yeah, I want my bike to be running Node. That's been one of my goals for a while, and I've been waiting for a chip to come out that is low power enough that can run Node, that I can just have a little USB battery pack and a waterproof thing on my bike for 2 weeks without having to worry about it. Because all the ones that I've done will last for a day or two, but I just think it'd be cool if everywhere I went there was a server running on my bike that I could use to do stuff like upload cat photos that I take on my bike, or join open Wi-Fi networks when I'm stopped at stoplights and check my Twitter for me, whatever, random stuff.
Totally.
Just I think it'd be cool if my bike had online presence and a certain Node.js server running on it at all times.
Yeah, totally.
If it gets stolen, I could just ping it or trace route it and see where it's at. And, CSI Miami hack myself.
Totally. You could have sensors along the way. You could plan them in different places.
Oh yeah.
Turn on lights when you go by.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, definitely.
A little sparkle to your eyes.
Yeah, Intel has this Edison thing.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be pretty powerful and pretty low power. Yeah. And it's funny because I like the Node community in Portland and open source community in general, but I never see Intel doing cool stuff. They always do. Every time I see them doing stuff, they're doing it out in Beaverton.
Yeah, or at a conference.
Yeah, or they sponsor a conference.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Intel sponsor like a hackerspace or do more direct community open source involvement, because they're like the biggest employer in Oregon still. Like, I know they have the resources and they're making these development boards, but I don't see they don't have a good presence in the open source community. I feel like.
No, they don't. No, they're trying to, but they're very top level kind of.
Yeah.
Totally. But you know what's really weird? To have a Node conference here at the Hilton.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's not very weird.
It wasn't that.
Or I guess it
It's
is
weird
weird.
for Portland.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's also weird for this community.
Yeah.
And up until now, it's been a lot more ragtag. I feel like in the last year, it's blown up. The amount of funding, like Michael had 100,000 or something budget for this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was.
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of changes too with like the IOJS fork and then the foundation, and so there's been a lot of.
I think that's the change, right? Suddenly you had some very, big companies behind the Node Foundation. And you had the creation of a foundation, right?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Just in itself is kind of significant. So then you have to move to the Hilton, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not here because of its Hilton-ness. We're here because of the size.
Yeah.
Like, we need 3 floors worth of.
Maybe next year, convention center. Because OSCON's gone, so somebody needs to do a conference.
Someone's got to step up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there needs to be a conference here in the summer. We've been thinking about doing one here in Portland.
Oh yeah.
Around that time of year would be nice. It's the perfect time of year to have a conference, I think.
Yeah.
Totally.
I kind of miss something about like the way the Node community had like Node Camp and all that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that completely die.
Yeah.
I don't want it to just like grow large and into all the other things that have come before.
Yeah. I think Michael announced Summer Camp 2016.
Oh, it's still going on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
my family has a large plot of land on the Oregon coast that we can do a camp event
Yeah.
on. So maybe
Oh,
the
nice.
idea is born here.
Yeah,
to do
nice.
Oregon
I love
Node
it.
camp.
Because Yahats, is that where?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
It's
Yeah.
a great part of the coast.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And
Not
I
right
found
now.
out there's fiber internet there.
No kidding.
Like-
Is that where it comes across?
Yeah, like it's ridiculous. Like for some reason,
Comes across the
this
Pacific
dirt
right there.
road, or no, not across the Pacific, but for
Oh.
some reason, like along this dirt road in the woods, there's like buried fiber cable, and there's an ISP that will sell fiber. So that's like necessary for any hacker camp in the woods is to have fiber internet. So
Yeah, I could see a new Stack hack in the woods.
that's awesome.
Totally.
Stack and hack.
Pancakes make perfect sense. Yes. Something like that.
We could all chop firewood, and hack the firewood, and yeah.
So, but Portland has always had kind of a quirky geek community. It's been very open source, and like when you think of people always doing kind of funky things together, right? I mean, and that I saw that we saw that in the Ruby community, right? And back in 2005, 2006, and it seems to have now it's moved into the Node community, just kind of adopted that kind of culture. Are there other projects out there that you guys are seeing that are kind of fun and different that you wouldn't actually see in San Francisco, or
There's
maybe
a
you
Node
see
module
Node,
that's
but
got
that's
the
it.
TriMet real-time info
Oh, yeah.
on it.
Yeah, that's
So
pretty
from the
cool.
command line, you can see when the buses are coming. I don't even think San Francisco makes that data available. So
Yeah,
that's very
true.
Portland and Node.
Yeah.
I mean,
Thing.
to be fair, that's TriMet's always been ahead
Right.
of the game there.
Yeah.
But then there's
yeah.
the user community of
Yeah.
Portland
Yeah.
that likes the
Yeah, the fact that you can get access to the API from
Totally.
the transit here is so
There's
awesome.
a developer that lives here named Kyle that works on NeoCities, and NeoCities is to take GeoCities, which Yahoo killed, and bring it back. And not even do it as a startup, because he just is I want GeoCities to exist for people. I'm doing it as kind of a public service, and so he just lives off of some donations he gets from NeoCities users, and he just wants people to be able to have their own websites. Not even he's not doing Squarespace where he's trying to monetize or anything. He's just GeoCities was awesome. Everybody had their own quirky website that was horribly designed, but it was personal.
Yeah.
And so he's just working on NeoCities in Portland, living cheaply here. He's using Node for it. And so I think that's cool that people can kind of do projects that they think are the right project to work on, not necessarily the one that they can, run a business, like a big, scalable, venture-backed business on. So I'm glad that part of Portland is still alive.
Getting pricey, though.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's the problem.
Yeah, and all my friends that used to live at in the 20s and 30s live in the 70s and 80s.
Yes,
now.
totally.
So
yeah, my friend McClinton bought a house up in 80-something, and I have another guy who lived across the street from us in St. John's. Couldn't afford to buy a house in St. John's. I mean, that's just kind of nutty.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And now lives out at 107. They bought a house at 172nd and Police or something. They're happy. They have a house and a yard and everything else, but yeah, it's all moving out that way. Well, maybe we'll have to hack, the Portland real estate market. Yeah, right. Break it down.
Yeah. Maybe we'll
tiny
all
houses everywhere.
We'll all move into the wood again, and it'll be like a big pendulum.
Yeah.
That's kind of how these things go, right?
Yeah. Let's go to Yachts right now.
Yeah. Don't tell the people in Yachts. Don't tell everybody move there. I'll be pissed. Zach, we told you to keep it secret.
Totally. All right, guys. Well, thanks a lot. It's been a lot of fun. We'll get back together to talk about what is it? Geeky Node in Portland. Node Geek in Portland.
Oh yeah, keep Portland Node weird.
Keep Portland Node weird.
Keep Node Portland weird.
Well, to everyone not in Portland that does Node, just keep your own local Node weird.
Keep your own. Keep Node weird.
Keep yourself weird, please. All right.
Be creative with it. Yeah.
Hack your cats. Hack your whatever.
Yeah, hack your karaoke.
Hack your karaoke bar.
Hack your text editor. Yeah.
All right. Take it easy, guys.
Cool.
That's it for this week's show. Thank you very much for joining us. Audio editing and sound design for the new Stack Analysts podcast is provided by Broken Hours. You can find them at brokenhours.com. Thanks again, and hope to see you back at the show. Bye-bye.